You're 14 when your brother gets killed, not in a gang war, not in a shooting. In a convenience store robbery that went wrong on a Tuesday afternoon while he was buying energy drinks and lottery tickets. The shooter was 16, high on something. Took $47 from the register and your brother's life for free. They caught him 3 days later. He got 15 years, your brother got a headstone, your mother stops talking after that. Not selectively, just stops. She sits in the kitchen staring at the table for hours. Your father was gone before you have memories of him, so it's just you and her and the silence and the space where your brother used to be. You're angry in the way 14-year-olds are angry when the world shows them it doesn't care. Not loud, not violent yet, just a low, constant burn that doesn't go out. The neighborhood is South Central Los Angeles, not the version from movies, the version where people go to work and come home and try to keep their kids in school. But there are blocks you don't walk down, there are colors you don't wear, there are questions you don't ask. You learn the map early, you learn which streets belong to the Crips. Which corners are blood territory, which parks are neutral until they're not. Marcus is the one who brings you in. He's 17, lives 3 houses down, known you since you were 8. He sees you sitting on your porch alone every afternoon after school and finally asks, "You just gonna sit there or you want to do something about it?" You ask, about what, he says, about being alone. That's the pitch, not money, not power, not respect, just belonging, a place where you're not alone in a house where your mother doesn't speak and your brother is a photograph on the mantle. The set is called the 83 Hoovers, Crip affiliated, about 40 active members, most are between 16 and 25, a few older guys in their 30s who have been locked up and came back. They meet in a garage behind a house on 83rd Street where someone's uncle used to repair cars. Now it's just folding chairs, a couch with springs coming through, and a table where they count money and sort product. You start as a lookout. You sit on a corner with a prepaid phone and you text a code when you see police. That's it. You get $50 a week. It's more money than you've ever had. You also get something worth more than $50. You get 15 guys who show up when you text them. You've never had that before. Marcus teaches you the rules. Don't talk to cops. Don't talk to civilians about business. Don't talk to members from other sets about anything. Keep your phone charged, keep your eyes open. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Most of these rules are about silence. You're good at silence. You've been practicing at home. 6 months in, you prove yourself. There's an incident at a liquor store on Figueroa. Some guys from a blood set roll up, start talking about territory, about disrespect, about how 83rd Street isn't Hoover territory anymore. It escalates. Marcus is there, you're there, 5 of them. 2 of you, you don't have a weapon, you pick up a bottle from the trash and break it, you don't use it, you just hold it, that's enough. They leave. Marcus tells the OGs. The OGs tell you you're official now, they jump you in on a Saturday. 7 guys, 30 seconds, you keep your hands up and try to stay standing, you fail, they help you up after. You've got a broken nose, a split lip, bruised ribs, you've also got a set, you're a Hoover now, you're 15 years old, the work changes, you're not just watching anymore, you're moving product. Small amounts at first, dime bags, 20 sacks, you stand on a corner or in a park and you make hand-to-hand sales to people you don't know and don't remember. The job is simple. The consequences aren't. You get caught, you're going to juvenile hall, you get robbed, you're responsible for the loss, you short someone, you answer to the OGs. You do it right, you make $200 a week. Your mother doesn't ask where the money comes from, you buy groceries, you pay the electric bill when she forgets. You fix the washing machine when it breaks. She doesn't thank you, but the silence in the house feels a little less heavy when the lights stay on. You meet Christina at school. She's in your history class, she's not from the neighborhood, she buses in from Inglewood, she doesn't know what you do. She just knows you're quiet and you always have your homework done and you don't start trouble. She asks if you want to study together, you say yes. For 2 hours a week in the library, you're just a kid who's bad at memorizing dates and good at making her laugh. You hold on to those 2 hours like they're the only real thing in your life. The first shooting you witness happens on a Tuesday. You're 16, you're walking to the corner store with Marcus when a car rolls up slow, you don't need to see the color. You know by the way Marcus tenses. He says one word, move, you both run. The shots are louder than you thought they'd be, not like movies, like firecrackers in your skull, you don't get hit. Marcus doesn't get hit, the bodega owner's nephew does, he's 19. He dies on the sidewalk before the ambulance arrives, you stood 3 feet from him, that night you can't sleep. You keep hearing it, not the shots, the silence after, the way sound dies when something that used to be a person isn't anymore. You ask Marcus, does it get easier? He says no. You just get better at not thinking about it. Retaliation comes 4 days later, not from your set, from the OGs. They don't ask the younger guys, they just handle it. You hear about it the next morning. 2 bloods shot outside a house on Vermont. 1 dead, 1 critical. The war isn't starting, it's just continuing. It's been continuing since before you were born. Christina asks you at school, did you know them? You say, no who? She shows you the news article on her phone. You read it, you didn't know them, but you know who did it. You say, no, I didn't know them. She looks at you for a long time, then she says, you're lying. You don't answer. She doesn't ask again, but something between you shifts. She stops asking you to study, you stop pretending the library version of yourself is the real one. The war escalates over 6 months, drive-bys, retaliation, counter-retaliation. You lose 3 members, they lose 4. The police increase patrols but don't stop anything, they just arrive after and take statements no one gives. The neighborhood treats violence like whether something that happens, something you prepare for, something you survive if you're lucky. You're carrying a gun now, a Glock 22. Bought from someone's cousin who knows someone in Riverside, you fired it twice at a range in the desert outside the city. Both times you hit the target, not center mass, but close enough. The gun lives in your waistband, you sleep with it under your pillow. It's the heaviest thing you own and the only thing that makes you feel less afraid. Your mother sees it once. You're changing shirts and it falls out. She looks at it, looks at you, doesn't say anything, just walks out of the room. That silence is worse than any conversation you've never had. The night everything changes starts normal. You're at the garage with Marcus and 8 others. Someone's playing music, someone's rolling dice, you're counting money from the week's sales. $12,000, your cut is $400. You fold it and put it in your pocket. You're 17 now, you've been in the set for 3 years, you're not a kid anymore, you're a soldier. The first indication something's wrong is the music stopping. Someone's phone buzzes, then another, then all of them. Group text, 3 words, they're coming now. Marcus looks at you, says back door. You don't ask who, you know, you run, you make it out the back as the front windows explode. Gunfire, not single shots, automatic weapons, the kind of sound that doesn't stop. You're in the alley. Marcus is behind you, you run toward 84th. Behind you the shooting continues, screaming, then less screaming, then silence. You hide in a backyard shed 3 blocks away, Marcus is with you. His phone won't stop buzzing, he's reading texts, his face doesn't change but his breathing does. He finally looks up, he says, 6 down, maybe 7. Trayvon's not answering, neither is K-Dog. You ask who hit us, he says, bloods from the Roland 60s. They brought shooters from 3 sets. This wasn't retaliation, this was extermination. You sit in that shed for 2 hours. Your phone vibrates once, it's your mother, where are you? You text back with friends, she doesn't respond, you wonder if she knows, she probably knows. By morning, the count is 9 dead. 3 in critical condition. The garage is a crime scene. The news calls it the deadliest gang-related shooting in South Central in 5 years. They interview the mayor. They interview the police chief. They interview a community organizer. No one interviews the people who were there. No one asks you why 14-year-olds join gangs. They just count bodies and call it tragedy without asking what made the tragedy necessary. Marcus survives, so do you, so do 4 others. Out of 40 members, 6 are alive and not in the hospital. The set is gone, not defeated, erased. The OGs who ran things are dead. The mid-level guys who moved product are dead. The enforcers are dead. What's left is 6 teenagers standing in the aftermath trying to figure out what happens next. The other sets smell blood. Within a week, 3 of the remaining 6 get hit in separate incidents. Marcus takes 2 bullets outside his house. He survives but leaves, just disappears. His family moves to Riverside. You never hear from him again. That leaves 3 of you, then 2, then 1. You're the last man standing because you're not standing. You're hiding. You moved in with your cousin in Compton. Different neighborhood. Different rules. You cut your hair. You stop wearing blue. You change your number. You become a ghost. For 3 months you don't leave the apartment except for food. You watch the neighborhood from the window. You're waiting for a car you recognize. A face you know, the retaliation that has to be coming. It doesn't come, not because you're safe, because you're not worth the bullet, you're nobody, the set you belong to doesn't exist. You're just a kid who used to be someone and now isn't. You try going back to school, different district. You sit in the back of classes and don't talk to anyone. A teacher asks if you're okay, you say yes. She doesn't believe you, but she doesn't push. You're technically a senior, but you've missed so much that graduation is theoretical. You stop going after 2 weeks. No one calls, no one checks. You're 17 years old and you've disappeared so thoroughly that even the system doesn't notice. You see Christina once. In a grocery store parking lot, she's with friends. She sees you, you see her seeing you. She doesn't come over, you don't either. That's the rule now. You're not the person she knew. She's not safe if she acknowledges you, so she doesn't. You watch her get in a car and drive away. That's the closest you come to feeling anything in 4 months. The nightmares start around month 5, not of the shooting, of the silence after. You wake up at 3 a.m. certain that you're the only person left, not in the set, in the world. You check your phone. No messages, you check social media. People you used to know are still posting, still alive, still living like nothing happened, because for them nothing did. You find Marcus on Instagram. He's using a different name. He's working at an auto parts store in Riverside. He's posting pictures of cars, of his girlfriend, of a life that doesn't include anything from before. You don't message him, there's nothing to say, you're both ghosts, you just haunt different places. Your mother calls, first time in 8 months. She says, come home, you say, I don't think I can. She says, I'm not asking, so you go home. The house looks the same, she looks older, she makes you dinner. You sit across from each other in silence. It's the same silence as before but different. Before she couldn't talk. Now she's choosing not to because what is there to say? Your brother is dead, you almost joined him, she knows what you were doing, you know she knows. The words don't make it better, so the words don't come. After dinner she hands you an envelope. Inside, a bus ticket to Oakland, a phone number, an address, her cousin's place. She says, you can't stay here. You say, I know. She says, don't come back until you're someone different. You say, I don't know how to be someone different. She says, then figure it out. Because this version dies, you already know that. You take the bus north. Oakland isn't different enough. It's the same struggle with different street names, but no one knows you here. You get a job washing dishes at a restaurant, 60 hours a week. Minimum wage. You live in a room you rent from your mother's cousin. You don't make friends, you don't go out, you work, you sleep. You repeat, a year passes, then 2. You're 19, then 20, you still check over your shoulder, you still can't hear fireworks without flinching. You still sleep with your phone under your pillow even though there's no one left to call. The kid who washes vegetables next to you at the restaurant is 17, he reminds you of you, quiet. Angry, looking for a place to put the anger. One night after work he asks if you know where he can get a gun. You say, why do you need a gun? He says, why do you think you know why? You look at him for a long time, then you say, you're going to get a gun, you're going to carry it, you're going to use it or someone's going to use it on you. And then you're going to be in a place where I can't help you, so I'm going to help you now, don't get the gun. He says, why do you care? You say, because I'm the last man standing. And standing alone isn't winning. It's just lasting longer before you lose. He doesn't get the gun, or maybe he does and doesn't tell you, you don't know. You just show up to work and wash dishes and try to be the version of yourself your mother told you to become. Some days you succeed, most days you're just surviving. You think about your brother sometimes. About Marcus, about the 9 guys who died in the garage, about Christina. About the version of yourself that sat in a library and pretended the world outside didn't exist. You're not that person anymore, you're not any person. You're just the space left over when everything else gets subtracted. A gang war doesn't end with a winner, it ends when there's no one left to fight. You're proof. You survived because you were lucky and because you ran and because you became nothing long enough for everyone to forget you were ever something. That's not triumph, that's just biology. The organism that survives isn't the strongest. It's the one that adapts to being smaller, quieter, less. You're 21 now, you got your GED, you're taking night classes at community college. Accounting, because numbers don't lie and they don't die and they don't ask you where you're from. You're building a life that looks like a life. Some days you almost believe it's real. But every time you walk past a group of kids in matching colors, every time you hear a car backfire, every time someone asks where you grew up, you're back in that garage. You're 14 again. 15, 16, 17, you're all the ages you were when you belonged to something before you learned that belonging meant dying. The last man standing isn't a hero. He's just the one who outlasted the tragedy by becoming a ghost. And ghosts don't win wars, they just haunt the quiet after.